We welcome those of you watching the Bills-Browns game. Bob Costas along with Ahmad Rashad and Bob Trumpy, who's spending this Sunday afternoon in the studio with us. What's going on elsewhere, you ask? Happy to oblige. Indianapolis was trailing 14-0 in the first quarter at Miami. They've come back to lead 17-14 late in the second period. They're trying to snap a 14-game Colt losing streak against Don Shula's Dolphins. Lorenzo Hampton's 6-yard run made it 7-0 Miami in the first. Then Dan Marino with this 4-yarder to Dan Johnson. Marino has thrown at least one touchdown pass in 29 straight games. Here's Eric Dickerson's first Colt touchdown, a 4-yard run in the first quarter, 11 carries for 55 yards at last report for Dickerson. Then the Colts tie the game in the second period. It's Gary Hogaboom, a 7-yarder to Billy Brooks. Subsequently, a Dean Biasucci field goal gives them a 17-14 lead after they trailed 14-0. Ahmad?
Bob, in keeping with the theme of the running backs, an excellent example is the Colts, because all of a sudden they have Eric Dickerson, and his attitude has infected this entire team, because this is a team that's mediocre at best. But with Dickerson, they feel like they can win. They're playing like winners, and the last couple of weeks they have been. So you can see that the attitude of the running back really sets a tone for the entire team.
Let's move on to the Cowboys-Patriots game. The Cowboys have the lead in this one, 14-7 at the half in Foxborough. Steve Grogan is at quarterback for the Patriots. Back spasms made him questionable earlier in the week. He ran 2 yards for the only Patriot touchdown. The Jets and the Chiefs, an exchange of field goals. Leahy and Lowry, they're tied at 3 at the half at Arrowhead. The Bills and the Browns, the game you're watching, 17-7 Cleveland in Cleveland at the half. Some highlights from that one. A matchup of the former Miami Hurricane greats, Jim Kelly and Bernie Kosar. It's 3-0 Browns at this point. They have the ball in the first quarter. Kevin Mack carries. Cornelius Bennett drags him down and the ball squirts free. Mark Kelso picks it up, and 57 yards later, he's in the end zone for the Bills. They have the lead at 7-3, but turnabout is most definitely fair play. So a few minutes later, here's Kelly to the air. He'll hit Pete Metzelaars, but Metzelaars has the ball jarred free after he's hit, and Ray Ellis picks it up for the Browns. He gallops 27 yards for the go-ahead score, and it's 10-7 Cleveland. They then lengthen the lead on Bernie Kosar's 15-yarder over the middle to Reggie Langhorne. He beats Derek Burrows, 17-7 Browns. And Bob Trumpy, a lot of people feel that the class of the AFC Central would be Marty Schottenheimer's Browns.
Bob, I agree, and I think a big help is the 2 hammers they have in their backfield. The 2 running backs, Kevin Mack and Ernest Biner, really help the Cleveland Browns control that line of scrimmage. The consistency of Bernie Kosar, he's not pretty, but he does get it done. And their great, consistent defense, I think this is the finest defense we're seeing in the AFC.
Trump, you're going to come back with us during the next segment of the halftime show. Pick up on the pregame show's theme. You'll make your pick for the best running back of all time. And also, you're a little irked about the officiating, huh?
A little bit, yes.
Just a little. All right. Picking up on the rest of the scores. Houston and Pittsburgh. This one is tied at 3 at the half at Three Rivers. Washington at home against the Lions, 17-3 in favor of the Redskins. Jay Schrader ineffective, yanked. Doug Williams replaces him, throws a 15-yard touchdown pass to Kelvin Bryant. Tampa Bay at Minnesota, a Steve DeBerg 20-yarder to Calvin McGee gives the Bucks the lead at 7-6. This one has reached halftime at the Metrodome, but a slim lead like that doesn't make Ray Perkins feel very secure. After all, they led 28-3 in the fourth quarter at St. Louis last week, and the Cardinals scored 28 unanswered points and beat them. Speaking of the Cardinals, comebacks apparently are their thing. They were trailing 14-3 in the first quarter at home against the Rams. They have since come back to claim the lead at the half, 17-14. When we return, Bob Trumpy will be with us. Stay with us. We'll be back in a minute. Well, what a rare opportunity this is. A chance to resume hostilities with Bob Trumpy. How are you, Trump?
Nice to see you, Robert.
All right, let's pick up where we left off on the pregame show. We had Payton and Simpson and Brown and Sayers with us, and the phone poll continues throughout the day on NBC. Who's your choice?
I think if I were a general manager and we're starting a football franchise and had the choice of one of those 4 players, my pick would be Jimmy Brown. And I'd pick him because he was there every single week throughout his career. The 104 yards per game for his career, to me, is a remarkable figure. He was the one guy that every defense tried to stop. He was basically the whole offense for the Cleveland Browns, and they still couldn't even slow him down. Jim Brown would be my pick in all situations.
On the other hand, you were making a point earlier about the circumstances in which Walter Payton played.
Yeah. Jimmy Brown's offensive line certainly went to the Pro Bowl, a lot of the players in front of Jimmy Brown. Some went to the Hall of Fame. In the case of Walter Payton, prior to, I think, the 1982 season, one offensive lineman, or the last offensive lineman to go to the Pro Bowl was Mike Pyle in 1954. Walter Payton got almost all of his yards completely by himself. He had no help whatsoever. And for that, you've got to look at Walter Payton's contribution, too.
Generally did not have as good a passing game as Jimmy Brown.
And yet, during Walter Payton's career with the Chicago Bears, he's the Bears' all-time leading receiver. So, I mean, he was as big a weapon as I think any team had, including Jim Brown.
Without trying to unduly influence the voting, let's take a look, though, at another stat pertaining to Jim Brown. Now, Jimmy led the league 8 of the 9 years he played in overall rushing. He also holds the record for most yards per carry. And there you see where the others in the argument fit in. Jimmy Brown is clearly the leader. Jim Taylor won the NFL rushing title in 1962. That's the only time in his career that Jimmy Brown did not do it. So he completely dominated his era.
Bob, it's safe to say that every defensive coordinator in the week that they played those 4 players wrote first line, stop Payton, stop Simpson, stop Brown, stop Sayers. Nobody did. Very few even slowed them down.
Who was the best blocker of the 4?
Walter Payton still is, considered by most people in the NFL as good a blocking back that's ever played.
All right, let's let you get something else off your chest. The officiating this year.
Not working, not going well. I think it's a part of the instant replay system in that in 1987 I've seen an awful lot of the officiating crews kind of stand around and wait for the instant replay to dictate the call they're going to make. They're not sure about a reception or a fumble. They mark the spot and kind of stand there and get the umpire to call upstairs and see if they can find out exactly what happened. The other thing is, there have been several instances already in this season where head coaches have called a timeout to give the replay another look. And after that, it seems that some of the officiating crews, they have an axe to grind. I'll show him. They start throwing the flag, and some calls are not really fair. I think I have a solution, and that is there's about 110, 115 officials working in the NFL. If you made that number 150, and every week judged each position out there in the officiating crew, and then from that you took the best 14 to work the following week, at least there'd be some price to pay for an official making a mistake, a glaring mistake. Now, I don't want to be that critical of them. For the most part, they are excellent, but some have taken the instant replay as almost a grinding wheel, and they don't like going to that grinding wheel. They feel rubbed, they feel raw, and they shouldn't. It should be an ally. It's not an enemy for them.
Should they ditch the instant replay?
No, we got to keep it. I think it's been one of the most innovative parts of the NFL in the last couple of years, and we have seen what we had hoped the replay would do, and that is overturn glaring mistakes. And it's not mistakes because they're not right. Most part, it's mistakes because they can't see through 300-pound bodies.
Let me go back to the running back question for just one second.
Sure.
You were making a point earlier about the difference psychologically between playing a team that beats you with the run and one that throws the ball over you.
Yeah, huge difference. So when I played, we could play a team that threw the ball, and back then New England, San Diego, 2 prime examples, and you'd lose 30-3, and you'd walk off the field and say, you know, I don't feel bad physically. We can beat those guys. But when you played a team like the Cleveland Browns who ran the ball or the Miami Dolphins who ran the ball, you could lose 6-3 and feel like you've been run over by a tank. They just beat you up. And it's a team that you never want to face when they have that big, devastating running back.
What's your mail like these days, Trump? It's all, I'm sure, pleasant, filled with bouquets?
Nothing but compliments, at least those that I read. Nothing but compliments. I always open them very gingerly. I take no chances whatsoever, but I get great mail from grandmothers. For some reason, I guess I look like everyone's grandson. I get great mail from grandmothers throughout the country, and I always write back to them, thanks. They send me cookies.
You have a taster
yes,
in your
I have
employ,
sure,
just in case?
Sure, but most of the cookies I get from grandmothers are very, very acceptable. That's not kidding. From the 65 and 70-year-old ladies, I get great compliments. From the rest, I don't know.
Bob Trumpy's Mailbag, an upcoming segment on NFL Live. You won't want to miss it, and we'll continue in just a moment.
Glad to have you back with us for what has been an exciting first half of action. We thought we'd take just a moment or two to review the scoring plays, or most of them in the game so far. In fact, Cleveland was leading 3-0 at this time when Kevin Mack is hit. Watch Cornelius Bennett strip the ball away. It'll be picked up by Mark Kelso, and he'll ramble all the way into the end zone to give Buffalo a 7-3 lead. That was in the first quarter of play. But, of course, the Cleveland defense is equal to the task as well. Metzelaars, the tight end, takes a pass from Jim Kelly. He has it for a moment, then it's popped loose and picked up by Ellis of Cleveland. He'll take it all the way into the end zone, and the Cleveland defense has a touchdown as well. Bernie Kosar throwing a touchdown pass in his 11th straight game. This one will be to Langhorne for the touchdown, a 15 or 16-yarder, and Cleveland taking the lead for good. Then the half ended on a controversial play. Webster Slaughter, with time running out down the sideline, stretches out to make an apparent reception, but it's ruled that he did not have control of the ball before it hit the ground, and it goes incomplete on reversal of the call from the replay booth. And so Cleveland missing on a chance to get 3 more points just before halftime. What about this first half? We said the special teams would be important. The special field goal team of the Bills has missed 2 chip shot field goals.
Well, they've missed 2 chip shots, and that's going to be very important in this game. But the defenses have played very well. There have been 2 big plays on special teams for the Browns. 1 touchdown call back.
All right, so special teams indeed playing a big part in this game. We're ready to start the second half, and it's the Cleveland Browns leading by 10, 17-7 over the Buffalo Bills. This kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. The Buffalo Bills will kick it off to start the second half. As you see, Scott Norwood has had a rough afternoon teeing it up. And Cleveland falls back into kick return formation with Herman Fontenot, number 28, going deep for the Browns. Sun continuing to shine here at Cleveland Stadium. A 17-7 Browns lead in a matchup between 2 first-place teams. Buffalo in a 5-way tie for first in the East, and Cleveland in a 3-way tie for first in the Central. Here's Norwood. And the kick is on its way. Fontenot, short kick, takes it at the 15. Takes it across the 25 to about the 27-yard line, where John Kaiser, a former teammate of Michael Jackson's, makes the stop.
Now John Kaiser.
Bernie Kosar on the field with his offense. Let's check the stats for that first half. The 2 gunslingers at quarterback have combined for 221 yards, the Browns, and 115 the Bills. The passing yards you see of the gunslingers, Kosar has had the better half. He said 14 of 21, 9 of 14 for Kelly, although Kosar has thrown an interception and Kelly has not. First down for the Cleveland Browns at the 28-yard line. Ernest Biner in motion. Kevin Mack has a big hole, pounds it across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Scott Radisick, inside linebacker. Look at the words being had there between a couple of players. Odoms of the Bills was talking to Langhorne of the Browns, discussing that last play.
Yeah, they were saying that I like the color of your eyes and I like the rouge you're wearing right now too.
5 yards on the gain for Mack. Here's what happened. There's what caused the discussion. Second and 5 coming up for the Browns. Biner sent it up to Slaughter, trying to put a wide receiver screen out there, and he gets it across the 35 to about the 37, where Nate Odoms makes the stop with help from Mark Kelso.
Quick screen that time. They've got Ernest Biner. Like I said in the first half, they're using him quite a bit in different situations, as a running back, as a flanker, and that time as a lead block for a quick screen.
3rd and 1 upcoming for the Cleveland Browns. 17-7 lead for Cleveland as we have 13.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter at Cleveland Stadium. Temperature around 60 degrees, a lot of sunshine here. Beautiful day in northern Ohio. Looks like Kosar is changing the play at the line of scrimmage. And he fires it complete for the first down. That's Brennan making the catch. Brian Brennan with his first reception of the day. Scott Radisick made the tackle for Buffalo, but not before Brennan had the first down grab. Sean McNanny was putting the pressure on Kosar.
Brennan almost turned that into a big play. He's so small, that Radicek went over the top of him, almost missed him. He could have turned upfield and picked up 10 to 15 more yards.
Brennan, 5'9", 178 pounds, 4 years out of Boston College. Second leading receiver behind Biner on this Cleveland team. That was his 23rd catch of the year. First down, Browns at the 41. Complete to Biner. Gets a block. Just short of midfield. He's finally taken out of bounds. Nate Odoms forced him out of bounds, and the good block by Larry Williams, the left guard, who's only moved into a starting spot since Farron moved from guard to tackle to replace Ricky Bolden, who was injured.
Well, he does a great job on that play there. Larry Williams comes out from his left guard position. You'll see him pull across your screen, number 70 there. He comes out late, puts the block on Darryl Talley, and allows Brennan to make a good gain out of it. There you see the nice block. Brennan comes downfield, picks up the first down.
Biner, the leading receiver in the game so far. 2nd and 2. Kevin Mack bounces outside and didn't get it. Good defense against the run by the Buffalo Bills, who throw Mack down on the sideline. There's Talley leading the charge for Buffalo. Darryl Talley, 5 years out of West Virginia, former second-round draft choice, who grew up in Cleveland, playing here before the home folks.
There's a lot of people on this Buffalo team that have been in Cleveland before that come back here and are making a good play. Darryl Talley is one of them. Lucius Sanford is another one.
It'll be 3rd and 3 coming up as the Browns got nothing, perhaps lost a yard on that one. Kosar retreats and hits Slaughter. He's going to go all the way. Touchdown, 52 yards. Here it is again.
Nate Odoms, the rookie, lines up in man-to-man coverage against Webster Slaughter. They had 8 men up on the line of scrimmage. Kosar notices it, picks off the slant pass to Webster Slaughter for a touchdown.
Slaughter making up for that one was nullified just before the half with that 52-yard scoring play. Jaeger adds the extra point, and the Browns on their first possession of the second half strike for a touchdown. Let's see if we have a flag down. It is good. The penalty against Buffalo, and so the Cleveland Browns add to their lead. It's now 24-7. Tom Hammond and Michael Jackson at Cleveland Stadium, where Bernie Kosar has just hooked up with Webster Slaughter for a 52-yard scoring strike, and the Cleveland Browns now up 24-7 on the Buffalo Bills. Jeff Jaeger will kick it off, and Porter deep for Buffalo. Taken by Porter at the 8. Porter spun around at the 20 and to the 24-yard line. Ricky Porter with a 36-yard return. No, 16-yard return. And Buffalo has it. Stephen Braggs made the stop for the Browns on special teams.
My old teammate John Kaiser was down there trying to push a little weight around just now with the Buffalo Bills and the Browns.
Jim Kelly and company have to get something going here now. Twice they've been inside the Cleveland 20 and come up empty. They're now down 24-7. This is their first possession of the second half. Kelly's pass short and incomplete, intended for Harmon. And Kelly didn't have much on that one.
Throws the ball out there. He's way behind the receiver. You cannot get anything out of that one.
Here are your scores with St. Louis leading the Rams by 10. 3-3 in that Houston-Pittsburgh big game in the AFC Central, of course. Miami by 1 over the Colts. Kansas City leading the Jets. Kelly under pressure. Fires complete to Burkett. Makes the reception at about the 30-yard line. He's going to be short of the first down. Eddie Johnson stops him. It'll bring up a third down for the Bills.
Nice play by the linebackers that time. They throw it short in the middle, and both linebackers get there. Eddie and Mike Johnson both get there. They try to strip the ball away, but Burkett hangs on to it.
Harmon and Ricky Porter, the backs on 3rd and 3 for the Bills. Kelly's been under pressure, but they really haven't gotten to him very often, and this time he lines up in the shotgun. They pressure him this time, and he's sacked. He was in the grasp and control, and it was Carl Hairston that had him, number 78.
I don't know about that one. Carl Hairston's credited with the sack, but just like Coach Marty Schottenheimer told us yesterday, Kelly is so strong it's hard to knock him down. Hairston has him, but he's still got enough power to throw that ball away.
Here's the punt by John Kidd. McNeil, the Ice Cube, takes it at about the 33, cuts back, and is driven to the turf at the 42-yard line by John Kaiser. So we'll take a timeout. The Browns with their offense back on the field, leading 24-7. Backer on special teams coming down was guilty of a personal foul after the whistle on that punt return, and so Cleveland set back now to the 26-yard line with a put it in play with a first down. Biner and Mack in the backfield, and Biner goes in motion. Take it to him, and Kosar completes a Mack, almost complete. He dropped it. That's the second one today he's dropped like that.
Well, that was a little bit thrown behind him. He had to do a 360, near a 360 to get his hands on the ball, and he was lucky to just knock it down, make sure it didn't get picked up for a touchdown. You'll see the fakes by Kosar. He fakes the end around, back to Biner coming back around, throws the ball under pressure. Mack just simply turns around, knocks the ball down. No big play there.
Brian Brennan in for Cleveland, bringing the play from the sideline, 2nd and 10. Mack curls it back inside and takes it to the 32-yard line. Darryl Talley pins him there.
If he hadn't lost his
we're inviting you to vote for the greatest running back in NFL history today, and we have the numbers for you to call. The best running back in NFL history, well, is it Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Gale Sayers, or O.J. Simpson, or do you think it's somebody else? You can express your opinion by calling one of the numbers listed on the screen. It'll cost you 50 cents. Don't forget NBC's portion of that 50-cent charge will go to charity for a good cause, and you can also cast your vote for the best running back in pro football history. 3rd and 4. Complete for a first down. Clarence Weathers dives to the 45, maybe the 46-yard line.
There's one thing about this Browns offense. Every time they catch a ball, just like you see Weathers on the middle of your screen there, they are upset that they didn't get more yardage out of it. They are very excited about playing today. They want to make nothing but big plays.
Ball just across the 45, so officially to the 46, where the Browns have it 1st and 10. 9 minutes and 40 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Cleveland with a 24-7 lead on Buffalo. Biner slipped just as he got the handoff and takes it for a couple of yards. The Browns have not gotten much done on the ground today against this Bills defense, but it's been through the air that they've been most productive, especially to the backs coming out of the backfield.
Well, that's how they're getting their backs involved in this offense, is throwing the ball to them. Coach Marty Schottenheimer said yesterday again that we believe in running the ball only at the end of the game to preserve the victory, and they have passed it very well today.
Under 9 minutes and counting for the 3rd quarter. Kosar stands up and calls a timeout. Kosar, faced with a defensive alignment he didn't quite understand, takes the first timeout of the 2nd half. It's 24-7, the Browns leading the Bills. Book from the University of Miami, the IBIS 1983. You open it up, page 192. There is a picture of the quarterbacks. Vinny Testaverde, number 18, Kelly, number 12, Kosar on the right, How'd you like to have just 10% of the money those guys are making now? Here's Kosar. He completes it to Mack, who's got blockers in front on the screen. Uses them well and takes it inside the 40. Down to the 36-yard line of the Bills, where Mark Kelso makes the saving tackle.
Bernie Kosar is doing an excellent job of keeping this Bills defense off guard. They don't know who he's going to throw the ball to. This time he uses Kevin Mack on a screen. He gets the good blocking, the screen blocking. They get the lead blockers out there, and he picks up good yardage. But Kosar is doing an excellent job.
And the gunslingers are fighting it out today. And there is the comparison so far. And the kid, Bernie the Kid, 301 yards through the air to 102 for the older Machine Gun Kelly. This time on the ground. They stripped the ball away from Mack at the last minute, but it won't count. It'll be the Browns ball at the 30-yard line, setting up a second and about 4.
The offensive line of the Cleveland Browns is now starting to take charge of this game. They're blowing the defensive line off the ball, picking up 5 yards on the surge alone.
Cleveland Browns, winners of the AFC Central the last 2 years, and hoping to go on this year and chalk up another divisional championship. Currently involved in a 3-way tie with Houston and Pittsburgh. And they play at Houston next week. Kevin Mack again. Totes it this time inside the 30-yard line, but short of the first down.
Defensive line, the defensive unit of the Buffalo Bills seems to be a bit flat right now. They're down by a big score, 24-7. They don't feel like they can get back into the game right now.
Michael, how does it affect the defense when you see your offense continue to fail to put points on the board?
One of two ways. You can either get supercharged up and go out and make a big play yourself, or you can be flat like the Bills defense is right now. They're totally confused right now. They don't know what to do.
It's 3rd and 3 for Bernie Kosar and company. Everybody jumping. Ernest Biner might have been the man to start it all. It was like a avalanche, a snowball effect. Everybody ended up jumping.
False start. Offense, 74. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Paul Farron, the man that got everything rolling. There he is, 74, turning out for pass blocking. Well, setting off the chain reaction.
He turned, but it looked like Kosar had taken a step. Ernest Biner on the other side had taken a couple of steps. Ozzie Newsome even got into the action. But number 74 got called for it, Paul Farron.
So much different situation now. It's 3rd and 8, and the Browns come with 4 wide receivers, a couple to either side. Biner behind Kosar. Kosar fires, and the intended receiver, Slaughter, fell down. Was trying to cover Slaughter, but he ran the little in pattern again and probably would have had a first down had he not lost his footing.
That's the same play and the same defensive set that scored the last touchdown for the Cleveland Browns. That little slant pattern, but this time the receiver fell down.
So on 4th and 8, the Browns get Jaeger and their field goal unit onto the team. Onto the field, not the team. Get the team on the field. And it will be about a 52-yard attempt. His longest has been 48. This will be his longest attempt. From 52 yards. It's short. So Jaeger comes up short on the long field goal attempt. And then we take a timeout with 5:57 left in the 3rd. And the Browns up 24-7. Again in Cleveland with producer Jay Hansen and Andy Rosenberg, our director. Buffalo with 5:57 left in the 3rd needs some points. Carl Byram tries to get a gain for them and takes it for about 4 or 5 yards. Ray Ellis from the strong safety spot making the tackle on Byram.
Buffalo Bills need to get something going here. This is a very crucial part of the game with 5.5 minutes left. They need a big play. They need a big first down, something to put the spark back in this offense.
They know that Jim Kelly is the big play man. He's the man that's taken the victories over Denver and over Houston in a late performance for the Bills. So they know that Kelly's the man that could pull it out for them. And keep it on the ground, though, and go again to Byram. He's across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Clay Matthews gets credit for the tackle. There's Kelly. His parents are at the game today. In fact, they're sitting with the parents of Bernie Kosar. The two former Miami quarterbacks, friends. Understand they talk during the season and discuss how things are going for their respective teams. You see the Bills do not have good numbers when they're behind at halftime. It's 3rd and 4 coming up here for Buffalo. Clock approaching 4.5 minutes. Harmon and Ricky Porter in the backfield. Kelly up top, flag down. The pass was intended for Ricky Porter down the sideline and could be illegal contact for the Browns. Felix Wright was covering with help from Clay Matthews.
Holding, 31 defense, 5-yard penalty and a first down.
It's going to be a holding call against Frank Minifield.
Ricky Porter and Chris Burkett ran a crossing route you'll see down here at the bottom of your screen, and that's where the holding was on Minifield. But Ricky Porter was wide open, and had that ball been thrown a little bit more in front of him, he could have had a touchdown.
So Minifield guilty of holding Trumaine Johnson away from the pass, and the Bills have it at the 46-yard line with a first down.
That may be the spark they needed to get them going.
High formation. Fake it to the tailback. Kelly under pressure goes down. Kelly sacked for the second time by Carl Hairston, and Bob Golick got a piece of it too.
Well, if that was what they needed, then they just take it out of him right there. Bob Golick and Carl Hairston, you'll see come from the right-hand side of your screen. Number 78 makes a nice spin move, and he's clean and free.
Clay Matthews also looping outside, got in there to add to Kelly's woes, and the Browns with another sack. Cardinals-Rams getting a little closer. Minnesota takes the lead on Tampa Bay. 2nd and 18. Kelly again under pressure. There's a flag on the play. Kelly finds a man at midfield. It goes to Trumaine Johnson, but there could be a holding call coming up against the Bills. Chris Rockins took Johnson down at midfield. It will be holding against Buffalo.
Right now, you take a look at Marv Levy. He knows that your team cannot win if you self-destruct, and a holding penalty, especially when you get a first down, is terrible.
Illegal use of the hands, a push to the face, 67 offense, 10-yard penalty, replay the down.
The center, Kent Hull, guilty of the push to the face. You think those offensive linemen a little more conscious of it, having Kelly sacked on the play before?
Oh, I'm sure they are maybe a little bit frustrated, too. You see on the right-hand side of your screen, number 67 just trying to get that protection. He gets his hands up in the defender's face. He can't do that. And they are very frustrated right now.
2nd and 28 for Buffalo. They're going in reverse. And they'll go on the ground to Harmon. Tries to put a move on, and to no avail as Minifield doesn't fall for it and cuts the legs out from under Harmon.
Outstanding play by Frank Minifield on that certain play there. They had a lot of blockers out front. You'll see the left side of that offensive line pull out. They've got a man for everyone except Minifield. He comes up, makes an outstanding play there.
Minifield went to the Pro Bowl last year. He's a 4-year veteran out of the University of Louisville. He was a walk-on with the Cardinals and has gone on to a Pro Bowl career with the Cleveland Browns, one of the best quarterbacks in the game, 5'9", 180. 3rd and 32. Kelly's pass complete. Diving grab made by Chris Burkett, but it'll be short of the first down. Ray Ellis made sure Burkett stayed down, and we've got another flag down. This is going to be roughing the passer against Cleveland. Al Baker guilty of roughing the passer, number 60 of Cleveland, giving Buffalo new life as Kelly talks it over with Hairston.
Well, he holds his cool pretty good in the pocket, and he takes the hit, and that's good for the team right now. You really don't need that done.
Foul, roughing the passer, 60 defense. We'll add on 15 yards and a first down.
You see Baker coming from the outside. The designated pass rusher comes in and just a little bit too over anxious. Kelly obviously had gotten rid of the ball, but he throws him to the ground, and you can't do that in this league anymore. They're protecting the quarterbacks a lot more.
Do you think they're protecting him too much? You're a former defensive player?
As a defensive player, I'd have to say, yes, they are protecting him too much. But if it's your quarterback, they can never protect him too much.
First down for the Bills. They're now at the 43 of Cleveland. 2:25 for the third quarter. 24-7 Browns. Kelly, I think there had to be a mix-up there. He finally goes down just shy of the 40-yard line. What happened?
It looked like he wanted to hand it to somebody, and nobody wanted the ball. Everybody's moving around. You see
got
number
the snap.
33.
I don't think he was ready for it.
That's right. It's simply a mix-up in communication there. We have a failure to communicate.
Well, the fans here all afternoon have been communicating. They call the defense the barking dogs. Hanford Dixon started that back in '84. They used to throw dog bones and biscuits and stuff on the field here. The fans did, but it got so dangerous they had to ask them to stop. But they're still pretty strong with the barking for their defense. Second down pass complete to Metzlars, who drops it again. There's a flag down. The Browns have recovered the ball. Clay Matthews is down there fighting for it, but there is a flag on the play.
That's going to be offensive interference. Metzlars pushed off.
Metzlars has been one of the goats for the Bills today.
Interference. Number 88 offense. Penalty interference. First down.
And here come the barking dogs.
Kelly comes back to pass. They've got a man-to-man coverage. Metzlars did push off Clay Matthews. Matthews comes across and swats the ball out of there, and Mike Johnson comes in to pick it up for the recovery.
Clay Matthews did indeed swipe the ball from Metzlars, just knocked it free. Second fumble of the day for Metzlars. The first one went for a Cleveland touchdown.
Not a very good day for Pete Metzlars at all. That is the most lonely feeling in the world. It's to know that you fumbled twice. One led to a touchdown, and nobody wants to stay or stand near you.
And unfortunately for the Bills' cause, this is true to form. They are the worst team in the NFL as far as the giveaway takeaway ratio. They have turned it over 29 times. And even though their replacement team responsible for many of those giveaways, they still would not be doing well in that category if you just counted the regular games. First down for the Browns on their own 36. They lead it 24-7. A minute 34 to play in the third quarter. Kosar. Pass is complete to the 40. Derek Tennell makes the grab, the reserve tight end, and Dwight Drain forces him out of bounds. It covered 24 yards.
Tennell runs a corner route here, the perfect route. You've got the zone defense. He finds that empty zone, the void. Kosar lays it out there. When they run their patterns, when the receivers run their pattern, if they get a man coverage, they have an option to go in or out. This time he decides to go out in the zone. Kosar reads the pattern, throws the ball, lays it out there just perfectly.
At the 40-yard line of the Bills, the Browns with a first down. Mack takes it to the 37, a 3-yard gain. As we're inside a minute 30 in the third quarter. Cornelius Bennett, the All-American, getting his first start for the Bills today. He's number 55.
On the left side, he plays the block off very well. Gets pushed back towards the end. He's just handling number 81, Derek Tennell. Really doesn't get part of it, but he's frustrated now. He starts pushing back. So he wins the pushing match.
Cornelius Bennett, number 55. Brian Bosworth, number 55 for the Seahawks. He had your old number.
There's a lot of money in those 55s.
I'll be talking to you about that after this game. Slide low. Here's McNeil in the game and getting it on the end around. Got a block. Scoots down inside the 25 to the 22-yard line where Shane Conlon saves a touchdown. It was 17 yards on the end around for the Ice Cube.
He showed exactly what kind of speed he has there because he had a man in the backfield with him, but he just outran him, simply outran him. The handoff to Mack to give to McNeil coming back around, and now he's going to turn the speed on. Little guys like that are hard to catch up with, but Conlon did it. Little guys make you frustrated.
Ticking down now inside 10 seconds left in the third quarter, and they won't run another play. So a crowd of nearly 80,000 loving the action here at Cleveland Stadium. at the end of the third quarter. The score, Cleveland 24, Buffalo 7. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Minnesota's lead is 3. The Rams and the Cardinals all tied up. Houston is for real. The Oilers at Three Rivers Stadium, 17-3 over the Steelers. Looks like they'll keep a share of first place. First down for the Browns at the 22 of the Bills. First play of the fourth quarter. It's 24-7 Browns. Biner hit and driven back at the 25-yard line. He lost about 3 yards. Some other scores now. Miami with a 1-point lead over Indianapolis. Dallas leads, and the Jets. Buffalo goes to New York to play the Jets next week, leading Kansas City 13-9. They just scored again. It had been 9-6 just a moment ago, and the Jets getting on the board. Cleveland at Houston next week, and the Bills at the Jets.
Well, you'll still have 2 first-place teams playing Cleveland and Houston.
Ernest Biner is set wide to the left this time on 2nd and 13. Kosar under pressure is sacked. Bruce Smith came with a rush and grabbed Kosar before he had a chance to set up for the pass. Smith, the first-round draft choice, the first player taken in 1985, the All-American and Outland Trophy winner out of Virginia Tech, with a great play here.
Well, they call him an impact player, number 78 in the middle of your screen, the one who has Kosar in his arm. He just roughs him up to the ground. I'll tell you, that may have been ruled a fumble. Apparently, the officials thought he got to the ball, or the ball was down, or he was in the grass before the fumble occurred.
Second sack for the Buffalo Bills. Their defense ranked 20th in the NFL coming in. 25th against the run and 10th against the pass. 3rd and 23, the Browns. Kosar across the middle has his man. It's complete to Brennan, and Brennan has it at the 23-yard line, where Cornelius Bennett puts the tackle on him.
Cornelius Bennett showed good speed that time, coming across to make sure that Brennan didn't get anywhere after he got the ball in his hands.
Brennan's bunch enjoying this completion to their hero.
You see Bennett in the middle of your screen coming over, and Cornelius Bennett following him over to the middle of the field, making sure that he didn't get very many yards after the catch. It was strictly a zone defense, but Bennett played the position very well that time.
So on 4th down, it'll be about a 40-yard field goal attempt by Jeff Jaeger. Jaeger gets it up, and it's good. So Jaeger hits the field goal, and with 12:53 left in the game, Cleveland by 20. Tom Hammond and Michael Jackson at Cleveland Stadium, 78,409 on hand, and the Browns threatening to make it a rout. They lead 27-7. Kickoff is squibbed to the 30. Roll picks it up, one of the up men, and is slammed to the turf at the 35-yard line. Butch Roll, a reserve tight end, and one of the up men on the kickoff return, taking it, and Chris Rockins with a hard tackle.
Getting an interesting effect here. They've got the wave going among the barking dogs.
I didn't know the dogs were capable of the wave here. Why would they squib kick? Was that a mistake, or did they do it on purpose?
I think it was a missed kick.
Here's Kelly. He completes the pass to Harmon. Harmon gets an 8-yard gain and is taken out of bounds. Stops the clock with 12:36 left. Well, it didn't stop the clock. They keep it rolling. So apparently he did not get out of bounds. Frank Minifield was over there covering.
There's a lot of confusion on the field right now. I think the refs are even confused. They're trying to count how many players Cleveland has on the field.
And the Bills going with their hurry-up offense. Kelly swings it complete. Ricky Porter, flag flies as Porter flies to the turf at the 47-yard line.
Buffalo Bills have gone to something that Minnesota did a few years ago, and that's get into your 2-minute offense a lot earlier than 2 minutes left in the game. They're 12.5 minutes left, and they've started the 2-minute offense.
Hanford Dixon a little gimpy there as he tried to shake off an injury.
We got tripping on number 37 defense. 10 yards from the end of the run, and a first down.
So Chris Rockins guilty of a tripping violation that Marty Schottenheimer doesn't agree with.
He thinks you can bring him down any way you have to, and I kind of agree with that philosophy. But tripping is illegal in this league, so you can hurt people. You can also hurt yourself.
Schottenheimer said the preparation by his team before this week's game was the best since before the strike. They're playing like it. Kelly's pass complete to Harmon, makes a nice move at the 30, cuts back, looking for blockers, gets to the outside. He's at the 25 and out of bounds. Nice move by Ronnie Harmon.
Very nice move. They said he was a very shifty runner, and he just proved it right there. He doesn't have great speed. He's got good speed.
17-yard gain for Kelly to Harmon on that play.
What they're doing now is making sure that Cleveland cannot get their nickel defense into the game. They're keeping them off guard.
Kelly goes for the end zone. Reed is there. Incomplete. Double coverage. Mark Harper knocked the ball away. Felix Wright was also there. Wright number 22. Harper number 23. Good coverage by the Browns secondary. Best in the league in the NFL against the pass.
That's one of those disappointing plays. Reed has his man beat. Kelly throws the ball into double coverage, but face guarding there, the ball just bounces off of his chest.
Yeah, it wasn't touched. I thought one of the Browns had touched the ball, but actually it went right off Reed's shoulder pad. There's the pass defense of the Browns. Quarterbacks typically don't have a good day against them. Kelly knows all about that. As he goes down under the rush by Al Baker. Bubba Baker put him down, but a flag went down as well. Holding against Buffalo. The sack will go in the books. Leonard Burton guilty of the hold. Baker didn't mind. He went through the hold and everything.
Oh, he wanted to get to Kelly that time. He wanted to eat him up.
We have offsetting fouls, 61 offense, holding, 23 defense, holding. We'll replay the down.
So offsetting fouls, as a matter of fact. Harper was also guilty of a hold for Cleveland. So Baker, number 60, laughs it off. He didn't get credit for the sack. They've been saying that he was a little disappointing. He only had one sack coming into the game. They acquired him in a trade with St. Louis as their designated sacker. Kelly runs up and is taken down. There's Baker.
He comes back for another sack. It's very interesting to watch this defense. They will be more tired than the offense because the offense knows what they're going to do. They are acting. The defense is reacting.
3rd and 13 for the Bills. Kelly across the middle to Reed at the 20-yard line. It'll be short of the first down. Ray Ellis makes sure Andre Reed doesn't get any more yardage. They mark it just inside the 20. It'll be 4th down and about 5 yards to go. They're going to go for it. Down 27-7. Kelly's pass complete for the first down. Harmon shakes off a tackler but then goes down. Stephen Braggs stopped Harmon, but the Bills have a first down.
That's what they have to do. They cannot afford. 3 points won't get them back in this game. They've got 11 minutes and they're down by 20. They need 7s instead of 3s.
They haven't huddled yet on this drive, and they have it going with a first down, and now a touchdown to Chris Burkett. Jim Kelly operates the hurry-up offense to perfection. The Bills move down the field and get a touchdown on the pass to Burkett.
Two things contributed to this touchdown. Number one, the confusion by running the 2-minute offense and the way that it wears your defense down. They're just a little bit tired. Burkett makes a nice catch over the middle, just a simple slant pattern that they've been taking away from them all day, but now they're tired.
Burkett with his 3rd touchdown catch of the season, and Kelly has thrown a touchdown pass now in 12 straight games. And the extra point by Norwood is good. Actually, Kelly now has 14 straight games with a TD pass, and his team is back in it. It's 27-14 Cleveland. 64 yards without a huddle to get the touchdown and get back in the game.
Very difficult to do. Number one, they've got a lot of barking going on in the crowd out there, but he gets the offense going, and that's what they needed to get going. Something to spark them. You see Kelly throw the ball, a simple slant pattern. The defense for Cleveland Browns was getting worn down by this hurry-up offense. They were reacting to what the Buffalo was doing.
Burkett with a touchdown grab, and for the 14th straight game, Jim Kelly has thrown a touchdown pass. Kick taken by McNeil at the 2. He's across the 15 to the 16 and stopped there by the Buffalo Bills special teams. Let's go to Bob Costas now for an update.
Well, here's a game of interest to the fans in Cleveland for sure. Houston is in front of Pittsburgh 20-3 in the fourth quarter. That was Drew Hill hauling in a 42-yarder from Warren Moon. Moon's second TD throw of the game.
And here the Browns leading 27-14 over the Bills, and with a date at the Astrodome against the Oilers coming up next week. 10:52 left in the game. It's 27-14 Cleveland. Browns with a first down at their own 18-yard line. Kevin Mack takes it across the 20. Got about 3 yards. There's Jim Kelly. We saw why he is one of the best quarterbacks in the business as he rallied his team to go 64 yards. He lifts the whole team. They think they can win with Kelly at the control.
They think they can win, and right now it's up to that defense to see what kind of a leader Kelly is. Even though he doesn't play defense, he has a big impact by leading his team offensively down for the touchdown.
There's another leader, Bernie Kosar, under center for a 2nd and 7. Kosar to Mack. Mack is stopped at the 24-yard line. Got 2 yards on the play. Drew Prater, reserve defensive end, making the stop for the Buffalo Bills. One final reminder now about the best running back in history. You can cast your vote in our NBC viewer survey. There are the numbers for Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Gale Sayers, O.J. Simpson. Or if you don't think any of those four are the top running back in NFL history, you can vote for somebody else. You can't give a specific vote, but you can vote for others. Over on the sideline, the defensive coordinator, Dave Adolph, with some word for his defensive unit, which just allowed the touchdown. Buffalo jumped offside. We'll see if they were drawn. Leon Seals, Dr. Sack, the rookie out of Jackson State.
The doctor's sick right now. Bernie Kosar is going to work on him. That's 3 or 4 times that he's drawn the defense offside simply by changing the cadence.
78 defense, encroachment, 5-yard penalty, and that makes it a first down.
What that penalty does is give Cleveland a first down, a crucial mistake.
An easy first down. The defense cannot afford to self-destruct in this situation. They're getting back in this game. They've got to come on and take the ball away from Cleveland. They need a turnover is what they really need and get back into this game.
Well, Marv Levy has a marvelous vocabulary, but his choice of words there was not one that he'll be too proud of. He is angry on the sideline as his team on a penalty gives the Browns a first down. He needed the ball back. He trails by 13. Mack slips tackles, takes it to the 37-yard line.
This is where Cleveland gets real tough. Late in the game, they've got a big lead on you, and they're just going to run that ball and run it at you until you stop them.
That's what Coach Schottenheimer said. He thinks the running game is valuable just in this situation. A 13-point lead, and in the fourth quarter with 8:40 left.
And he's got 2 ball carriers in Biner and Mack. Like I said earlier in the game, those 2 guys can hurt you.
There's Levy. He's still mad about that offside penalty.
Well, he's not happy at all.
Second and 3 for the Browns. Mack stops short of the first down. Perhaps got a yard. Dean Prater making the stop for the Buffalo Bills. A former Cleveland 10th round draft choice who was signed as a free agent by Buffalo in '85. Prater's number 79. It'll be 3rd and 2 coming up for the Cleveland Browns, and here's another big important defensive play for the Buffalo Bills. Tim Manoa comes into the backfield with Ernest Biner for the Browns. Manoa 6'1", 227 pounds. Let's see if they give it to the rookie from Penn State. Biner, he has the first down across the 40. Manoa led the way with the block, and Biner picked up the first down.
Well, they're running right at Cornelius Bennett that time. The rookie, they're going to see how good he is, and that time he didn't stand up to the test.
How tough is it to have 2 rookie linebackers starting for you?
It's almost impossible. You need that veteran leadership, and the biggest problem is if you have the 2 rookies on the same side.
Conlon and Bennett, the rookies, and here's Biner again.
You'll just see Bennett being stood up. He cannot get off the block. He can't get in to be a factor in on that tackle. And Mack picks up the first down.
Clock very much in favor of Cleveland. Inside 7 minutes. And the Browns leading 27-14. Viner again with tough yardage to the 45-yard line. Got 4. Scott Radisick, 4 years out of Penn State, making the stop for the Bills. Shane Conlon, the rookie from Penn State, also got a piece of it.
At this point in the game, the Buffalo Bills defense still has not done very much. Although Jim Kelly led the offense down for the touchdown, you see Kelly there, that did not lift up this defense. Well, actually it did. The penalty hurt them. The penalty for the first down that gave Cleveland the first down, that really hurt this defense psychologically.
Scott Norwood has missed 2 field goals for the Bills. They would be just trailing by a touchdown if he had been able to connect. Viner. No, it's Mack, excuse me. Mack to the 49. Bruce Smith falls on him there.
You got a dangerous situation going on right here. Well, let's check the ticker. Minnesota up by 6 over Tampa Bay.
Go ahead with your thought while the folks look at the scores.
The situation you have for the defense, they're starting to strip at the ball. They're trying to cause a fumble, and therefore they're not going to wrap them up. They won't wrap up the running backs. You have a chance of a running back breaking a tackle, going for a touchdown.
27-14 here at Cleveland Stadium. 5.5 minutes left. 3rd and 2 for the Browns. They come with their 4 wide receiver package. Kosar sidearms it for a first down to the 45 of the Bills. Slaughter on the receiving end as Nate Odoms wraps up Slaughter. There you saw the way that Bernie Kosar is able somehow, some way to always get the ball on target. That time it was a sidearm job.
Gary Danielson has a theory, and I referred to that earlier in the game, of why Kosar can throw the ball anyway and get it there. And that time you saw him throw it sidearm. Man-to-man coverage, still gets it there. That theory is when you're a kid, you're a quarterback, you're always the best in your community. But Kosar was never very fast. Therefore, he had to learn different ways to release the ball.
And so Kosar has all those little gimmicks, those little sidearm jobs to compensate for his lack of speed that some of the others haven't learned as they get to the NFL where the players are as big and as fast as they are. Kevin Mack carries, Fred Smerlas stops, and the clock continues to run.
Well, the clock is in definite favor of the Cleveland Browns. They're going to take their time getting back to the huddle, use all that 30-second clock that they can.
Marv Levy can only helplessly watch as his defense continues to retreat, and the clock ticks down toward the end of the game. His team is down 27-14. With a 4-4 record, the Bills in a 5-way tie for first or a 5-way tie for last, whichever you prefer, in the AFC East. Viner stops short of the 40-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd and long.
Bernie's still working on the defensive line for the Bills. He almost got the whole line to jump that time with a voice inflection again.
Conlon, the first-team All-American out of Penn State, tripping up the ball carrier that time. And it'll be 3rd and 5 for the Browns of Marty Schottenheimer. Less than 3.5 minutes on the clock. Kosar retreats the pass. Chased out of the pocket. Lets it fly, incomplete. It's ruled incomplete. Langhorne made a diving attempt at it, but it's ruled incomplete. They say he trapped it. Mark Kelso was right there with him.
What's interesting about that is Bernie Kosar gets flushed out of the pocket, and there again, you get to the point to the Gary Danielson theory. He's got a lot of time, and then the pocket closes on him. He gets outside and throws it sidearm. He got good zip on that ball, too.
Almost had a completion, but ruled a trap, and so punter George Winslow is on. And deep is Pitts. This is the first punt of the day for Cleveland, and it comes with 3:08 left in the game. Flag down. The 30-second clock expired. Delay of game set the Browns back 5 yards in the punting situation. There you see the 30-second clock down to 0. First punt of the day for the Cleveland Browns. Winslow is their punter. Beat out Jeff Gossett. He's only had a couple of punts.
Still fourth down.
The punter is the man for the Browns. It doesn't get much activity. 2 punts, averaging 37 yards for Winslow in his Browns career. First one today coming up. Nice punt by Winslow. Let's see if he can catch the corner. No, it'll go right into the end zone on the fly. And on the touchback, Jim Kelly brings his offense on the field, trailing 27-14, 3:03 left. Number 29 is Hanford Dixon. They call him the top dog, and he's trying to get those dog fans in the bleachers going for the defense.
Well, he's got them barking today.
They're coming out with a poster this week of Minifield and Dixon. TD for top dog Dixon and MM Mighty Mini for Minifield. Kelly's pass across the middle, incomplete. Harmon made a diving attempt for it, and Ray Ellis was there with him. Stops the clock with 2:57 left.
They're going to jump back into that 2-minute offense again. The Buffalo Bills are, to see if they can get another score real quick. They need it too.
It took them 64 yards for a touchdown the last time they had the ball. Kelly delivers across the middle and incomplete. Intended for Andre Reed. At least he was closest to it. And quickly it's third down now for Kelly. The Browns with 2 timeouts left. The Bills have all 3. 2:52 on the clock.
You might think about getting in the huddle and seeing if they can get a play that'll work this time.
Plenty of time for Kelly. Now he rolls out. Fakes the pass, cuts it upfield, and goes out of bounds, short of the first down at the 27-yard line. It's going to be 4th down and about 3 yards to go.
That's the one thing that Kelly has over Kosar is he's able to get outside and then run upfield instead of going out of bounds. He can get upfield and get some positive yardage for you. That time he did not get nearly enough for a first down, though.
Here's 4th and 3 for the Bills. Incomplete, and Cleveland takes over. Ronnie Harmon double covered. The ball batted free by Stephen Braggs with help from Ray Ellis. And the Brown defense holds, and the offense comes on the field.
That's something that the Cleveland Brown defense deserved right there, was to get out 4 plays and out. That's what you want your defense to do at this situation in the game. They're very happy with it. For the Buffalo Bills, very disappointing right now.
The Browns defense, number 1 in the NFL. They've allowed the fewest points in the National Football League. Only 110 points coming into the game, so 124 total now. And they're the only NFL team to score 100 more points than they've allowed.
One thing about it is you look at Kelly on the sideline, he's still trying to figure out in his head how they can get back in this game. He knows that it's not over, or at least for him psychologically.
In the first meeting between Kelly and Kosar in Buffalo last year, Kelly won the stats, but Cleveland won the game. 2:37 on the clock. Cleveland with a first down at the 26 of the Bills. Biner picking his way, fumbled, and the Bills have it. John Kaiser picked it up and then was hog-collared, and a flag goes down. Kaiser recovered the fumble, decided he would pick it up and run with it. Somebody, the Browns, grabbed him around the neck and threw him down, and then the fist started to fly, and they're still going but the sideline.
Now. They are going crazy now. Marty Schottenheimer's in the middle of that, trying to break it up.
That one blue jersey right in the middle of all those white jerseys is a brave soul.
He's the bravest man in Cleveland right now, I'll tell you.
Webster Slaughter is down in there for the Browns somewhere at the bottom of it.
Minifield doesn't even have his helmet on. He knows he's going to be protected.
Hey, yeah, that's the time to get your helmet on if you're going to get in the middle of that.
Somebody's getting stomped down there, it looks like. They are stomping somebody.
They pulled somebody out of the bottom of that stack for the Bills. Can you see his number? I'm not sure who that is. It's Burrows, right.
Boy, he is dirty. He got stomped down at the bottom of that pile.
His jersey's torn.
Let's see what happened on this thing. Simple handoff. They're just trying to run the ball out. They cause a fumble on it, so the Buffalo Bills do get the ball.
There's Bennett. I believe he caused the fumble again.
John Kaiser gets on it, and he's being held down by his own people. Finally, he gets out. He was never touched. Oh, there you go. Slap to the head by Langhorne. Then a hog tie to bring him down.
And grabbed him by the helmet, too, I believe.
Yeah. And then all the trouble starts. Burrows comes in from behind. And that's where all the trouble started.
Let's see if Gene Barth and company can figure all this out. They're talking to Fred Smerlas.
There's going to be a lot of penalties on this.
All right. We got a personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the tail end of the play. However, the ball was blown dead on the 20. That foul will be tacked on from the 20 up to the 35. We have offsetting disqualification fouls. 36 Cleveland, 29 Buffalo. Those offset at the succeeding spot. Cleveland ball at the 35-yard line.
Stephen Braggs ejected from the game for Cleveland. Derek Burrows for Buffalo. The ball blown dead at the 20-yard line. You take it from there.
If they blow the ball dead on the 20-yard line, I don't see how they do it. But they gave the ball. Gene Barth said the ball goes back to Cleveland on the 35-yard line. Now, I don't understand that. This is the tail end of the play. You see, that's where the fight started. Reggie Langhorne throws Kaiser to the ground. Then Burrows comes from behind, and everybody wants to get in on the action. I don't know how anybody ended up on the ground from there, but it just all of a sudden went crazy.
Somehow Burrows and Braggs will get in the middle of it, and they'll be the ones thrown out.
You see Kosar still in the middle of it. Nobody touched him.
That's why Schottenheimer got down there. He was saying, Bernie, get out of there.
Obviously, for Cleveland to get the ball, they must have said that Mack was down before he fumbled.
We've got a final score in from Kansas City.
Instant replay has reviewed that it was a fumble. However, the whistle blew. The ball reverts back to Cleveland, plus a 15-yard penalty, and the other two fouls offset. Cleveland's ball, 1st and 10 on their 35.
So it was a fumble, but incorrectly the whistle had blown, so the ball is dead, even though it should have been ruled a fumble. It's ruled dead at that point. Then the 15-yard penalty against Cleveland takes it back, but the Browns still have the ball. The other penalties offset. So the replay showed it was a fumble, but the officials on the field said the whistle had blown.
Marv Levy just can't believe it. I come to Cleveland and nothing goes right.
We do have a final score from Kansas City. The Jets, who host the Bills next week, have beaten Kansas City 16-9. New York retains a share of first place in the East, and Kansas City still has won only one game all season, its opener. Kosar having a little light moment on the sideline. Another final score in.
There was a fumble. However, the whistle did not blow until Buffalo recovered the ball. Then we have a 15-yard penalty tacked on from there.
Okay.
Okay, the whistle did not blow. We've just been kidding. Have you been taking notes? I can give you a final score between the Rams and the Cardinals. It's 27-24. The Rams win it. Marty Schottenheimer is still looking for an explanation. That's the third different call. Art Modell, the owner of the Browns.
He can't believe it. He knows what happened, though. He's going to tell everybody, all his buddies, what happened.
Well, really, I think they got the call right, finally, when all was said and done. It did look like it should have been a fumble, and it should have been Buffalo's ball. So I think in the final analysis, they got the call correct. It just took a while.
It took a long time to get to this point. It sure did. Marty's got a 13-point lead, but he wants that ball back more than a lead.
2:27 left in the game, and 27-14 the Cleveland lead. Buffalo's going to have the ball, I believe, at the 35-yard line.
They're going to wind up and go deep now. Bernie Kosar is having a great time with this. I think he's just trying to add his 2 cents and make it more complicated than it already is.
I think Marty Schottenheimer sent him out there as the captain. He is eligible to get the explanation. Marv Levy says, did you understand that? Stepping off the penalty now, and the ball will be spotted.
I'll go through this again. There was a fumble on the play, and Buffalo recovered the ball. The whistle occurred after the recovery. There was a 15-yard penalty for 88 piling on. The disqualification fouls offset.
I knew he was going to get caught in the middle of that. I knew he was going to get caught. I knew he was going to get caught in the middle of that. He just kept talking and backing up.
They were giving him the wrap sign. They couldn't get him done in time.
Gene gets involved. Look, he's right in the middle of the play there, and they're going to snap the ball. They're ready to go. He's still explaining what happened. That's what I mean. The players already know what happened.
I hate to bring this up, but I think they're talking to the replay booth again. The umpire, Ed Fiffick, was on the phone talking to the replay booth. They've gone for coffee.
Another penalty.
I guess they just got the spot correct. Well, it's 27-14, 2:27 to play. We've had a comedy of errors here the final few seconds, and now we're ready to go. Gene Barth is out of the way, and it's 1st and 10 for the Bills. Kelly across the middle. Tough catch that time by Chris Burkett, who hung on in traffic as he was pounded. And for Dixon, Ray Ellis combining to pinch Burkett, and he held on to the football. 3 timeouts left for Buffalo. Try to get a play off before the 2-minute warning if they can. And they do. Kelly's got a man wide open. There's a flag on the play. Fumbled the football out of bounds. Andre Reed made the catch all by his lonesome, and a penalty marker down.
With him being that wide open, one of two things. There was a mix-up, or he pushed off on somebody, and it could be offensive interference.
28-yard completion.
Interference, 86 offense.
Call it on Tremaine Johnson. Interference on Tremaine Johnson of Buffalo.
And Marv Levy can't believe it. Tremaine Johnson, top of your screen, you'll see he's running a pick. He was pushed into the pick. That's why the receiver was so wide open.
So we are at the 2-minute warning. We'll have a chance to catch our breath. 1:52 left, and Cleveland on top, 27-14. Bills today. Couple of key factors here, Michael. Only 26 yards rushing, over 250 a week ago in the win over Denver. And special teams. We said it would be a key. Norwood has missed 2 field goals, or they'd only be down by 7. And for the Cleveland Browns, Bernie Kosar over 300 yards, 346 on 24 of 34 for a pair of touchdowns. Only rushed for 33 yards, but they did sack Kelly 3 times, and it was the arm of Kosar that carried the Browns to victory today. That plus the play of their defense.
Well, that big showdown never materialized between the two quarterbacks. Kosar did his part. Unfortunately for the Bills, Kelly was unable to get started. But the special teams play did come into effect here. They could be driving for the tying touchdown now instead of just trying to get back on the board.
2nd and 14 for the Buffalo Bills at their own 37-yard line. 27-14 Cleveland, 1:52 left. Low snap. Kelly manages to pick it up. Stands in there and lets it go complete for a first down to the 45 of Cleveland. Burkett with another grab, and Kelly stops the clock with 1:43. It went for 18 yards. We'll take a timeout. Buffalo still alive. Intended for Ronnie Harmon. Penalty marker down. Could be a hold.
Sam Clancy came free up the middle, and somebody reached back and grabbed him and cut him off so he wouldn't get the sack on Kelly.
Gene Barth's been getting a lot of airtime here lately.
I wonder if this is going to take all day to explain this one, too.
We have offsetting fouls, 31 defense, holding. I got a trip on number 65 offense. We're going to replay the down. Still first down.
Vogler of Buffalo guilty of a trip. Minifield of Cleveland guilty of a hold. Offsetting penalties. It'll be again first down at the 45 for the Bills with 1:37 left. Final score from Pittsburgh. The Oilers beat the Steelers 23-3. They'll stay in first place in the Central, and they'll host the Browns next week. Kelly's pass almost intercepted. Intended for Burkett. Minifield had a hand on it but couldn't hold it. Pretty good idea of the size difference there. Burkett at 6'4" and Minifield at 5'9". Mighty Minnie had a hand on that one but couldn't hold on. It's incomplete and second down for Buffalo.
Well, I tell you, Mighty Minnie has the biggest calves I've ever seen. I saw him yesterday.
Kelly under pressure. Let it go. Incomplete. Trumaine Johnson was down the sideline. Hanford Dixon was right there with him, and then Felix Wright came over to help out, and it went incomplete.
The defensive line for the Cleveland Browns is doing an excellent job of getting to Kelly right now. They're just blowing holes wide open, and they're pressuring him real good.
Kelly with the clock stopped at 1:26. Time to call the play in the huddle and fussing at one of his offensive linemen, as you can see.
Well, he needs more time. He cannot stand back there and throw under pressure all the time. He's standing very cool and calm in the pocket, but he wants more time.
3rd and 10. Kelly has it complete. Another flag on the play. This one close to the first down, perhaps a yard short to Andre Reed. Setting the world's record for penalties in the final 3 minutes. Mark Harper was defending for Cleveland, and it's a hold against the Browns, and that will give Buffalo a first down.
Holding, 29 defense. Penalty refused. First down.
Hanford Dixon guilty of the hold. Have you been involved in a game with a more bizarre finish than this one?
Not lately. I don't see where the holding was. There was man-to-man coverage. Well, that's not the man they
Dixon
called it on anyway.
was out of the picture there.
Okay.
There's Dixon. 70 yards and penalties against the Bills. Now 85 against Cleveland. First down at the 35-yard line for Buffalo.
You know, this offense that the Buffalo Bills are running right now is confusing everybody. They cannot find the correct spot for the chains on the sideline.
They're going to mark off the penalty again. They're going to put it. They're going to put it at the 40-yard line of the Browns, and the Bills will have a first down there.
This is getting to be real wild now. Now they're moving the sticks up to the first down mark.
And now they'll let him go. Kelly gets away from the rush. He's got a lot of running room. He'll go out of bounds at about the 17-yard line. 1:10 left. Kelly had the whole field wide open and finally rambled for 23 yards.
That was a nice play on Kelly's behalf. He had his receivers on the left-hand side of the screen of the field, and nobody was there. Kelly's looking to his left. He looks to the right. Nobody's over there. He's just going to take off. He shows pretty good speed there, too.
And so the ball at the 16 now, where it'll be first down for the Bills. 27-14, Cleveland leads, 1:10 left. Kelly's pass. Incomplete. I thought that might be an interference as Reed collided with Harper, but no flag.
No interference because he turns around and faces the ball. Kelly has his man open. He throws the ball a little bit behind Reed. That gives Harper a chance to turn around and face the ball and not the receiver. That's why they couldn't call it pass interference.
And because Harper was looking for the ball, it's not interference. As you look at the scores, some of them final. Wild one in Miami today.
Indianapolis is for real.
Second and 10 here. Pass complete to Burkett. No, it's Trumaine Johnson at the 10. Johnson at the 10, but the clock keeps rolling. And finally stopped by a Buffalo timeout. Second timeout taken by the Bills. They'll have one left. 58 seconds remaining on the clock. And 27-14 the Cleveland lead. It's going to be third and about 4 yards to go for Buffalo.
It's 3rd and 4, but actually it's 3rd and goal. They have to get into the end zone so that they can kick the ball, get the ball back, hopefully on an onside kick, and have a chance to win this game. It's very important that they get into the end zone on these next 2 plays.
And remember this key factor, Scott Norwood missed 2 field goals that were certainly in makeable range. And had that been the case, it would be only a 7-point lead for the Browns if he would have been able to convert.
And that would mean that this touchdown, if they do score, would tie the game up.
However, it's 27-14. Kelly completes the pass for a touchdown. Andre Reed takes it into the end zone.
And that shows you the competitiveness of Jim Kelly. He takes his team the length of the field, gets into the end zone, and now they still have a chance to get in there and win the game.
Dixon and Harper collided on the play, leaving Reed open for the touchdown.
Andre Reed just simply gets inside of Mark Harper, runs around, everybody else is on the ground, gets the touchdown.
Here's Norwood on to try the extra point as Kelly goes to the Buffalo sideline, hoping he'll get one more chance. 52 seconds left in the game. Kidd holding for Norwood. High snap, but Kidd pulls it down, and Norwood sends it through. So it's 27-21 now with 52 seconds left.
The most important part of the game right now is the special teams. We said that it could come down to what the special teams do. Now we have an onside kick coming. Let's see if Buffalo can get it back.
While we have a moment here before the kickoff, we'd like to invite you to watch the replay again.
Plenty of time for the pass. Jim Kelly throws it over the middle. Everybody misses tackles there, and he just dances into the end zone.
Yeah, we'd also like to invite you to join us on NBC next Saturday from Hollywood Park. It's America's Day at the Races, the Super Bowl of horse racing. 7 races worth a total of $10 million. Also up for grabs, the Horse of the Year title and numerous divisional championships. It'll be the Breeders' Cup from Hollywood Park next Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time here on NBC. Got any bets you want me to take out for you?
You're going to be there. I wish I could be there. It's going to be nice and warm. But I'll be in Seattle where it's nice and raining right now. We needed the rain, too.
52 seconds left. 27-21. Cleveland maintaining the lead. Time now for our Budweiser Most Valuable Player. And it's Bernie Kosar, who had another fine day passing for over 300 yards for the Cleveland Browns. Our Most Valuable Player award sponsored by Budweiser, and Bernie Kosar from Cleveland is honored. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's games. Well, the Browns, expecting the onside kick, have got their good hands people up front. Weathers, Brennan, Slaughter, McNeil, Langhorne, they're all up there hoping to get the onside kick. How much time do teams normally spend working on recovering an onside kick?
Not nearly enough. I think they spend one day or part of one practice, and that's only one day, maybe 10 minutes on practicing to recover a kick or even to kick an onside kick. However, Marv Levy, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, was hired as one of the first of 2 head coaches or 2 assistant coaches who specialized in special teams.
Norwood gets it in the air, has to go 10 yards, remember. A collision, and the ball will be Cleveland's at the 45. Webster Slaughter, one of those wide receivers put up front, trying to get the ball, lost his helmet, but kept the football. Darryl Talley really ran into him, and he may be shaken up, but he did hold the football.
Boy, he sure took a hit on that one. Norwood gets a nice kick. It's a little bit too high. You don't want it that high unless it bounces over the head of the receiving team. Slaughter did do the right thing. He stepped across the line, which made it illegal to hit him until he got the ball. But once he got the ball, he got wiped out.
And he's down on the ground right at the moment. I'd like you to stay tuned now as NFL Live, the Budweiser NFL Report, will bring you all the results of the games throughout the league today, and of course results of the survey we've been running today on the greatest running back in NFL history. Webster Slaughter shaken up on the play and still on the ground. Be ashamed to have a key player like that shaken up with only 51 seconds left in the game.
You really couldn't see it very well in that replay, but Darryl Talley laid a hit on him, and he could be seriously hurt, or he could just have the breath knocked out of him. Hopefully that's all it is. He's got the wind knocked out of him, but Talley put a hit on him, a big hit.
Doubleheader action coming up next week on NBC as we continue to follow the NFL. Some of you will see Indianapolis at New England. Others will have Buffalo at the Jets, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, Cleveland at Houston. And then the doubleheader game will have the San Diego Chargers to visit Michael's old team, the Seahawks, in the Kingdome. Some of you will see as your second game Denver at the Raiders. Doubleheader action in the NFL coming up next week on NBC. Slaughter perhaps just had the wind knocked out of him. We hope so. Bill Tessendorf, the Browns trainer, Dr. John Bergfeld, the team physician, attending to Slaughter. And he's up on his feet. We'd like to take a moment to thank our spotters, John Bestall and Pete Halbin, and Dave Montgomery on stats today. Our thanks to the fine support crew here in Cleveland. Well, a good sign as Slaughter apparently only had the wind knocked out of him. And Cleveland has the ball with 51 seconds left, holding on to a 27-21 victory. And again, the two missed field goals looming very large for the Bills. Buffalo does have one timeout left as Cleveland just tries to kill the clock. We were at practice yesterday over at Baldwin Wallace College as Buffalo stops the clock with its final timeout. And in that practice yesterday morning, the final play of the practice, a tradition with Marty Schottenheimer. It happens every time the day before the game. They practice killing the clock. Kosar going to one knee.
And when they do that in practice, Marty has a big smile on his face, and he has an even bigger smile in this game because that's what they hope the game will come down to, is we have to kill the ball.
There's Webster Slaughter. A little the worse for wear, but apparently not seriously injured.
It takes a while for you to regain your composure after having the wind knocked out of you. It really hurts. It's more than the wind. It's painful. One
of our gunslingers, Jim Kelly, talking to Fred Smirlis over on the sideline. And the other gunslinger, Bernie the Kid Kosar, on his way to victory. 27-21, barring a fluke play here. Buffalo can no longer stop the clock. Wouldn't you believe it? A penalty flag.
But he's rolling the clock. The referee threw the flag, then he says keep the clock going.
How can you do that?
Maybe he was just practicing. I don't know. No, I'll tell you what happened. I think Buffalo Bills tried to swat the ball. When the center snapped it, one of the defensive linemen was trying to slap at the ball.
I see. So they'll have to go down to the knee one more time. There are 15 seconds on the 30-second clock, and as you see, a little more on the game clock. But one more play will do it. And the Browns will be tied with Houston for first place in the AFC Central. And the Browns have a date with the Oilers at the Astrodome next week. Well, the Buffalo Bills fall to 4-5 on the season, and they'll go to New York to play the Jets, trying to avenge an earlier loss to New York. The former Miami teammates, Kosar and Kelly, with a few words. Their parents sat together at the game today. They keep in close touch during the season, and they fought it out today here at Cleveland Stadium with the Browns coming out on top. Final score 27-21. Special teams did make a difference. The most glaring part of it, the two missed field goals by the Bills.
The two missed field goals, like we said, they are very important. Special teams are. People sometimes don't realize how important they are. These two coaches, however, do know that they are very important keys to a game.
The Cleveland Browns up their record to 6-3 with a 27-21 win. We'll be back with the Budweiser NFL Report after these messages from your local station.